Hello, and welcome to Age of Noob. Today, we'll cover the general changes coming to Age of Empires 4 in the upcoming patch. So this includes game modes, map changes, UI and UX changes, AI changes, and general bug and balance changes. I will cover civilization-specific balance changes for the next video, including all landmark changes, so hitting that subscribe button will ensure that you don't miss that out and help support the channel. Thanks everyone. Alright, with that out of the way, let's go ahead and cover what's coming to Age of Empires 4, starting with the game modes. Nomad is getting the official treatment. This classic game mode was already available as an unofficial mod, but the developers are now baking it right into the game, which is a good thing. For those of you unfamiliar with Nomad, its start is scattered and chaotic, as you begin the game with 3 villagers and no scout, forcing you to find a decent spot for your town center quickly, and alert your teammates on your and your enemies' whereabouts. Furthermore, the devs have finally improved the mod browser experience. First of all, the pesky mods re-downloading with each launch of the game is finally gone. This used to drive me nuts as there wasn't an easy way to discard them. Also, many quality of life improvements were added, including dynamic and more relevant search results, popular search, and official mods toggle. There's also a new pagination system as well. Almost every concern I've raised in my previous video on mods were handled in this patch, so well done to the devs as the experience of downloading and managing mods is much smoother now. Okay, let's move on and talk about maps now. Most of you should already be familiar with Four Lakes, and it is being added as an official map now. For those of you who are unfamiliar with the map, it is essentially a land map surrounded by 4 lakes, which invites aggression from all sides, both on land and water. This is one of the quintessential hybrid maps in Age of Empires, so I'm glad it's getting the official treatment. Continental is another classic AoE map that also makes its official debut. An extensive island surrounded by ocean, the water holds numerous fish and there are numerous stealth areas as well. With water restricting maneuverability, players' town centers will be in close proximity to others, so they will have to take strategic care to balance their military for both land and water. And finally, Marshland. Marshland is an open and aggressive environment set deep into the jungle, surrounded by boggy grounds. There are vast amounts of forest players can hide in to surprise their opponents, and though there are plenty of resources scattered in the swamps, players should beware of the dangerous wildlife lurking in the woods. Also, the map Mediterranean is now called Baltic instead, as the devs mentioned that there is a biome in the game that's also called Mediterranean that caused confusion. I believe this mistake occurred once in the most recent Red Bull World tournament as well. I get this change, but Baltic is already a known map in Age of Empires, so I kinda wish they chose another name for it. That said, I think it doesn't matter much, so it's an overall good change. Aussie Drongo will finally rejoice, as you can now change the size of the minimap via the minimap zoom level setting by using the change minimap zoom level hotkey or the zoom button in the lower right of the minimap. Now, the implementation of the minimap zoom is rather imperfect, as the icons on the minimap itself doesn't scale as well. I'm sure the devs will fine-tune this setting in the future, but it's a step in the right direction regardless. Perhaps the most important feature that I have been requesting since the launch of the game is finally with us, and that's the cheat code minimally minimal working as intended. For some, this isn't a big deal, but for me, this ensures I can film in-game footage much easier, and I won't have to zoom in to sacrifice composition or video quality anymore. Good stuff. Also, there's a long list of UI tweaking that the devs have done that I will quickly show on the screen right now. Pause the video if you'd like to read them through, as there were many little optimizations that I think were a good layer of polish. The developers provided a long list of changes for the AI that should, in theory, help smooth the experience a bit more for those who enjoy playing against the AI. Once again, if you're interested in the full details, then you can check out the long list in the patch notes. That said, there's one important detail that I want to address. Hard AI now will have a doubling bonus to its resource gathering, including passive sources like relics. In other words, hard AI is now cheating. This change I do not like at all. In my opinion, this takes away the fun for some and a fair practice partner for others. I can understand if they provided a handicap option like you can in AoE2, but baking it directly into the hardest AI seems very lazy to me. If you folks remember, I made a whole video about AoE4's promise of machine learning-led AI that would be humanly unbeatable, and even after a whole year, we're still a far cry from that. I have since also seen this sentiment shared on Reddit, the official forums, as well as chats with other notable members of the community. It seems like everyone's consensus on the topic is that the AI should be called cheating AI or something similar, and we should bring back a non-cheating hardest AI. This way, we get to keep a fair hardest AI while also adding a cheating AI for those who want the extra challenge. I believe the devs won't ignore our feedback overall, so we'll see what they'll implement on the official patch. Regarding general bug fixes and changes, once again, we have a massive list here. I'll call out a few of the important ones here and you can read the rest. Influence-based effects, such as the ones from the Abbasids' House of Wisdom and Holy Roman Empire's Emergency Repair influence, can now only be extended with fully constructed buildings rather than building blueprints. A bug of melee units not attacking broken wall segments and standing idle is fixed, and the bug of landmarks remaining standing if destroyed while under construction is also fixed. Also, when provoked, the boar will now seek revenge on their attacker and ignore nearby innocents. Just like the change of the hardest AI, I believe the devs might reverse this change for the official patch. Furthermore, some important changes are coming to walling yet again. Palisade walls cost increased from 5 to 7 wood and health reduced from 1500 to 1250, while the Roost improved Palisade wall health is reduced from 3000 to 2500. On the other hand, building time is buffed, as it is reduced from 7 to 3 seconds. In short, Palisade walls are now easier to build, but they cost more and fall quicker. The only change to the stone walls on the other hand is on their HP. Their health is reduced from 3500 to 3000. They should still serve their purpose in the mid to late game, as this roughly 14% change shouldn't deter players from using them the same way too much. And finally, a big change comes to healing, as monks now only heal at 50% speed when their target is in combat. Overall, I like this change, though perhaps it would have been nice to have an opposite 50% boost to healing out of combat to offset this nerf. Regardless, this is a good change. As mentioned, those were the changes that I think needed your attention out of the bunch, but here's the full list if you'd like to pause and read the plethora of other fixes and changes. And finally, let's cover the significant general changes coming to Siege, starting with the heavy hitters. Bombards' wood cost is reduced from 400 to 300, the Great Bombards from 600 to 450, Cannons from 400 to 300, and Rebuldequins from 400 to 300. The devs mentioned that these units felt too expensive for how easily they were sniped in the game, so we'll see how it impacts the late game. Remember, this change is nothing to scoff at, as it's a whopping 25% discount on wood. As you may have heard, battering rams get two fundamental changes. The first one is that they can now be created in siege workshops by all civilizations. This change makes more sense coupled with the new Imperial Age technology, lightweight beams. Lightweight beams increases the ram's attack speed by 40% and reduces their field construction time by 50%. The devs' rationale behind this is to make rams a tad more viable in the late game, so we'll see how this pans out. As mentioned in my previous video, this also now means that the Chinese will be able to train clock tower battering rams from their clock tower landmark. With more nerfs to walling and some sizable buffs to siege across the board, turtling overall just got more difficult. Well, that wraps up my summary of the general changes for Age of Empires 4 in the upcoming patch. With these changes and the new military units covered on the channel now, only civilization-specific and landmark balance changes remain to be covered from the pup, so be sure to be subscribed to not miss out on future coverage of the patch notes. Thank you for spending some of your time here at Age of Noob. Stay happy, stay healthy, and hope you can join us again in the next one.